Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. I'm so excited. Hello. Please let me know where you are joining me from. And yeah, let me know where you guys are joining from. I'm so excited about tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight. And listen, we are going to get started. Do you guys hear me okay? Please send me some stars or say, yes, I hear you. I just want to make sure. Joining from Dallas, welcome. Thank you for joining. Brooklyn, New York, cool. I love Brooklyn. Thank you, Kate. Thank you. Yes. Okay, cool. So welcome to the first night of the Born Influencer Instagram series. For those of you who don't know me, or you may know me, my name is Ashley Joy, and I am a life and leadership coach as well as an author and a speaker. And this series is a series that's a pre-launch to my podcast that's coming out next week called the Born Influencer Podcast. And it is a podcast for women of faith who have extraordinary vision. And this has been a beautiful struggle, I should say, for me in launching this podcast. But I'm so excited to create a hub where women can come to be edified, to be stirred, to be empowered and influenced in order to walk into their God-given talents. I believe that we all are born to influence and dominate in whatever industry God has called us into. And tonight I have my friend, Richelle Howard, who is going to be joining me in a few, and we're going to get started. This is just a taste of what you all are going to be witnessing on the podcast, where I interview women who are influencing and dominating, and they're going to be sharing tips on how you can do the same. So we are going to get started, because one thing I want you guys to know about me, I'm going to start on time and I'm going to finish on time. Okay. So thank you. One thing I want you to know, that when we do start the interview, I am going to be turning off the comments, only because it can kind of get distracting for me, and I want to pay attention to our speaker tonight, and I want her to have the opportunity to really speak and share her life and her journey. So at the end, I'm going to be turning the comments back on, and we're going to do a short Q&A. Is that okay? Are you guys with me? Send me some hearts and some love so I know you guys are with me. Good. And Richelle, you can request to be added. Let me see. Richelle, are you there? Oh, I can invite. All right.
Can you hear me?
I do.
You look beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm going to
this orange, honey. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you. So listen, I disabled the comments because I really want people to get a taste of, one, not only do I have the honor of being a peer of yours in the coaching industry, but you are my friend.
I know. It's so great.
We are real life friends.
Yes.
So I want people to be able, and comments are great. People always send encouraging comments, but for me, it can be distracting. So I want people to get to learn about you, the mindset coach, the mental health advocate, all of the great things that you're doing. So how do you feel about that?
I feel great. Let's do it. Let's find this out.
Yes. So let's start. Yeah. You ready?
Okay, I'm good.
Good. So tell us, so I want you to start off, one, just introduce yourself.
Yes. So first off, giving honor to God, but also the lady of this Instagram story. Thank you so much, Ashley, for allowing me to be on tonight. You already know, as soon as you asked, I was like, oh yes, absolutely. Because I just believe in all of what God has called Ashley to do. So I'm just, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this kickoff.
Oh, thank you.
You can just call me
Okay,
Richelle.
we got a little,
Huh?
y'all bear with us. Hold on 1 minute.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. It
We're
seemed
good?
like yes, we're good.
Okay. And so my name is Richelle Howard. I am a life and a mindset coach, primarily mindset. That is the area that I focus on, helping women to get to the core of their limiting beliefs so that they are able to move forward through insecurities, through self-sabotage, through procrastination, all the things that keep them from walking out their God-given purpose in the earth. I've been in this mental health space. I've been in the mental health space rather for about going on 9 years now. I kind of shifted over into coaching about 5 or 6 years ago. And I just love it. Like, I love watching women get unstuck. But more than getting unstuck, I love to see them walk boldly in their purpose when otherwise they may not have been able to. And so it's just it's a great honor to be here, and I'm really excited.
And let me just say, okay, thank you for that introduction.
You're welcome.
But you are good at what you do.
Thank you.
You are really good at what you do. When I see you in your zone, you know how you see someone like in their zone and you kind of forget the relationship? Like, you know, we talk on the phone all the time. We check in with each other. But when I see you in the capacity where you're teaching and in your zone, I'm like, I learned so much from you. So tell me why was calling yourself a mindset coach? Tell me about, how did you choose the word mindset?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. Okay. That's a good one. I really think one of the biggest things that I've seen with, can you guys hear me okay before? Is there?
Yes, send us some hearts if you can hear us okay.
Yeah, if you guys can hear,
because I hear you.
Okay. I want to see if I need to touch my my Wi-Fi off, because sometimes it'd be a little interesting.
Send us some hearts if you guys can hear us okay.
I'm gonna make sure, because I can probably pop this off.
Okay, we've seen some hearts.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Somebody, anybody.
Listen, I was like, somebody throw a heart out there now.
Thank you.
Yes, and so I think the biggest thing, as far as how the Lord has kind of shifted me from just like life coach, which can sometimes be broad depending on, I think every life coach has an area of specialty.
Right.
But for me, a lot of the clients that I've worked with, I can rah you all day. We can do the deep digging all day. But at the end of the day, if your mindset, the way that you see yourself, the way that you perceive God, the way that you perceive your abilities is not what it needs to be, there is not enough strategy, advice, cheerleading, support sessions, accountability that I can give you if you have not already determined in your mind that you are not only capable of seeing something different, but that you're actually going to determine in your mind that you can do the work to make it be different. My personal belief, I think everything starts and ends with mindset. If your mind isn't here, you can have all the business coaches, all the strategists, take every single course. You can do all the things and be like, I got all these books, I got all these resources, I got all this stuff, but I still can't execute, because mindset is tied to execution. Mindset is tied to movement and momentum. So maybe you don't need another anything. You may just need a transformed mind. But I mean, there's so many ways to go into that. But
listen.
Mindset, child, you got to get to that.
You have to get to the mind. No, it's vital. It's vital. So how did you know that, like Auntie Oprah say, right? What was the aha moment? Aha moment. Yes. When you realized that this is my path, right? That this is something that I'm called to do, to dominate and influence in. When did you know that moment, that particular moment?
That's a good question. Okay, I think for me, I was working very heavily in trauma therapy and a lot of just more critical therapy.
Okay.
And I think one of the passions and the burdens, but also one of the grievances that I had with some of my clients, that like you know their story, you know where the trauma happened, you know where they picked up these narratives. But I think the frustrating thing for me, beyond some of my clients that were just, they had gone through so many levels of trauma that it was like, at this point, mindset is going to take a little bit longer, right? We need to be able to put some other safeties and support. But I had some clients, right? And we became, we became close. And I'm like, listen, I know this is so beyond resolve for you because you have it, but there's still this locked piece of mindset that helps you realize that after you've gotten your resolve, after you've gotten your healing, you still have to have a made up mind to move forward. And I think that aha moment was, I was sitting with a client one day and we were just, they've had all these different successes. Like, they've launched programs, they've done this, they've done that. But they were getting ready to pivot into another level of their business. And they were just like, I just don't have what it takes. And I'm like, you don't see all those wins you just had? Like, do you not check your receipts, But it was easy for me to say that. And so after so many dialogues, we were able to kind of find out there was a part of her story where she was used to seeing wins in a particular area. And the moment that she branched out, she saw a little bit of disappointment because something didn't go the way that she anticipated. And so what that experience told her was that if I go out of the lane of doing something that I'm familiar with, I won't succeed. I don't have the ability. So that one experience for her that happened years ago,
that's good,
ingrained in her this narrative. And so with her 5-6 years later, trying to do something different outside of what she'd already been doing, she reverted back to that particular belief because of that isolated incident. So I think that aha moment was just like, that's what it is. Let's find the parts of your story, because we are all walking stories. Stories don't just happen in our childhood. We are living a story right now, right?
Right now.
We lived the story last week. We lived the story. I'm not the same Richelle now that I was 6 months ago or a year ago. You're not the same Ashley. And so when we learn to categorize the fact, really come to the awareness of the fact that we are walking stories and life is just really one big story of micro stories happening, right? That's when we're able to identify and say, okay, this is a story that happened 6 months ago. This is the story that happened three years ago. I learned something from that. I picked up an experience, or I like to call them narrative. I picked up a storyline about myself, about my abilities, some that are good, right? Like certain seasons teach us how to see ourselves well, but there are certain seasons that we give them power to tell us who we are, as opposed to the other way. And that's where mindset work for me is like the aha. That aha moment was with that client of seeing all of her wins, helping her see all of her wins, but also helping her see, hey, this one moment, that was a really big moment for you. That told a really big story for you. Now let's sit together. Let's process that experience, find out the maladaptive mindset and shift it.
That's good.
And so I think that's my aha moment. That's my
Listen, you said a lot of just great things, like really, really meaty stuff, because as we talk all the time, it's the mind, right? It's really the mind. And even for me, I always tell people I call myself a belief coach, right? Because I believe that when you find belief in yourself, there's nothing you cannot do, right? When you conquer the enemy within. And just so moving on to the next question, even as you talked about our narratives and our stories, and we have been living in a pandemic for the past 2 years, and now research show we're also living in a mental health crisis right now, just because of the pressures of what's going on in the world, and our lives being so drastically different than what we're used to. So what have you found, even in your clients, what has been some of the biggest stressors in the women that you work with in their lives? Like, what are those things that you see has been the hurdles that maybe can resonate with someone who's watching right now?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the key hurdles that I've seen is sometimes a lot of my clients have become so familiar with lack of showing up that they really don't believe that showing up and being and operating in the fullness of how God has created them to show up, they don't believe that can be a new normal for them.
So let's stop there. So what when you say show up, what does that look like?
Yeah. So showing up could look like, hey, I have this business idea that God gave me. He gave it to me 3 years ago, and I still won't go and get the paperwork together to file. It may also look like I've been sitting on this draft Google Drive. I keep going and pecking and trying to work on this chapter because I know God gave me this book. Amen.
Who's that resonating with? Well, put some hearts right now because I need to beat this screen.
He gave me this book. When I got it, I was getting ready to run with it, but every time I go to open up that Google Doc, I hear this inner voice telling me that when I write what God told me to give, what God told me to share with my audience, it won't be effective, it won't be valuable, it won't be heard, it won't be read. So therefore, until I feel as though that's going to be a thing, until I can guarantee certainty, which is, let me give a little side note, you can't guarantee certainty. You have to just follow God. We don't know who's out there. We don't know who's watching this IG live. We don't know who your podcast listeners are going to be. We don't know who our readers are going to be. It's not our job to be certain as it relates to outcome. Our simple job is just to follow God when he gives us a directive, right? I think one of the biggest hang-ups is that people have, due to, I just believe, life cycles, traumas, disappointments, a series of events of their lives. When you go through something that is frequent, we take frequency and we label it as being normal.
Oh, Richelle. Okay, hold on.
See, okay.
You guys,
excuse me, y'all. Let me get some
stop right there. Because, I always say that the biggest mistake that anyone can make, but especially a woman, the biggest mistake anyone can make is try to return to the person you once was after you went through a transformative life event, right?
Yes.
So
you're not the same person.
You're not the same person. But just like you said, the narrative that we tell ourselves of being comfortable, that you try to run back to who you once were because that's comfortable, right? And being the new person on the other side of the disruption, on the other side of the trauma, on the other side of the job loss, on the other side of the miscarriage, right? Being this new person is unfamiliar. It's scary. I don't know if I want to be her, right? So let me try to return to this person.
Because
this person don't quite
be her.
Right.
We never had to be her. And I think one of the biggest struggles is teaching people how to be. Like being able to say, you went through XYZ. Let's sit with that. I tell my clients this all the time. We're going to invite that experience in the room, but we're also going to tell it when it's time to leave.
That's good.
We stand here.
Say that again. Say that again.
We get to invite our experiences in the room. And that's the beautiful thing. When we do mindset work, we are not negating trauma. We're not negating the life experiences that cause you sorrow or grief or pain or suffering. We're going to invite them in the room because we want to know what they've been trying to convey to us narrative wise all along. Okay. And so we invite them in. We say, I see you. I honor you. These are the lessons that I learned for you. These are even some of the grievances that I've had because of you. And I want to let you know that I honor you. Experiences that have been hurtful and painful and that disrupt our mindset, they don't just need to sit in the room. They just need to be honored. We need to be able to tell an experience. I see that you happened to me. I see that you happened. I acknowledge you. I didn't know that you were going to come into the room. It kind of caught us both by surprise, right? Like I didn't know you was going to come in.
Look,
okay,
but we're here.
But since you're here, I just want to honor you, and I want to honor the parts of me that didn't know how to deal with you. Right. But I also need to speak with you to let you know some of the narratives that you told me about myself were not accurate because they don't align with how God created me to be. I see you. I honor you. I analyze the narratives that you brought into the room. And now I kindly ask you, because I've now honored you and done all those things, to leave. Right. To leave.
That's good.
I can now, when you leave the room, I get to now sit with the reality that I have made resolve with those experiences, but I have not allowed those experiences to tell me who I am. That's is the key mindset work. We can't just be like positive thinking and just think well.
You're right.
That is maladaptive. Like No.
Right,
We need to
right.
honor these things because they have something to say. Where people go awry as it relates to mindset work is that they sit with the experiences too long and they give it too much room to talk.
Power. That's
They
right.
give it too much
That's
room.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. That's good.
I don't even
So
remember the question, but amen.
that was good. Listen, are you guys still with us? Give
I
us
know,
a heart.
right? Y'all
Listen,
let us know. Actually, no,
I
this
know
how we
how
talk
you
on the phone. So
it is, and that's why I'm trying to stick to script.
I know. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so today we hear so many people talk about wellness, right? I kind of feel like it has become almost of a buzzword,
Yes.
and which is a beautiful thing, right?
Yes.
But in order, like, okay, we know in order to live a well life and a thriving life, as you said, it takes doing some of the mindset work.
Yes.
But what does that even look like, right? Like, how does someone start eradicating some of the self-limiting beliefs that they even have? Or how do they know that they have these beliefs and that it's been holding them hostage into walking into the calling and the destiny that's on their life?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I know that was
No, you
yeah.
good. If I need clarification, you know I'm gonna ask. I'm like, hey, girl,
Right.
repeat that last part. I would honestly say twofold. I think the place to start is introspection, right? I think that we sometimes don't practice, and it is an art. I don't think we always practice the art of self-introspection, like really going in and asking ourselves, have I, because here's the thing, and people can tell me this all day, but I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. You know you better
That's
than
right.
anybody else.
And that's what coaching is, right?
Right.
You're guiding people to ask
You're just guiding
themselves
people to
the right question.
right?
Right.
And so I know Richelle. I know when Richelle is self-sabotaging. I know when Richelle is holding back. You know you. And we have to be very upfront with that reality. So one, I think practicing introspection is key. I think also two, learning how to be transparent with the parts of your story that you may not always want to give language to, because those are even the subtle moments that are typically still speaking. Right. So that may look like going to a therapist, right? Journaling out some themes, because the thing about mindset is that you're not just going to wake up tomorrow and be like, oh my gosh, I self-sabotage. I can guarantee you, if we were to sit down and map out the past 3 to 5 years, we would see red flags of self-sabotaging tendencies, because these things happen thematically. It's just never been addressed. Right. And so, one, I think looking at the patterns of your behavior, does it happen to where every time the opportunity for you to go for a promotion, you find another reason to talk yourself out? Does it happen to where at the end of a year, I see this all the time with clients, at the end of a year, you got all these vision boards, all these journals, you done bought 2022 through 2024 calendars, and you just know, this is going to be the year I'm going to pass out my services, I'm going to serve my people. Yes. And you got that same vision board done collected dust, you got your little magazine pieces that you taped on there, folded over by July, right? That's the theme. You love the hype of something new, but you don't want to do the work to have something new. And so I think one, practicing introspection, two, being transparent, but also being able just to be real, like being able to be real with who you are, right? That's good. And then the second part of your question was, what was that? Remind me again. I think I forgot too. But listen, but I did. Yes. So I do have a follow-up to what you said. I do have a follow-up because this is so important. And I went on live last week just talking about how do we keep the momentum in 2022, right? Just like you discussed, so many women come into the new year. You know, we have these resolutions, we have these intentions, we buy these journals, we create our vision boards. But research shows, Richelle, that by the first month of the year, that people abandon their goals. The first month, right? And I have, my own theory of why that happened in terms of, not really setting attainable goals for yourself. But
what mindset practices we can adopt today
Yeah.
in order to help us propel and keep the momentum for 2022, because I believe that this is such a divine year. This is a year, I mean, you know, of unlimited possibilities. But the reason why I even wanted you to speak on this component of mindset, because I understand and you understand that if our minds, right, doesn't change about one, how we view ourselves,
absolutely,
right, and how we view our experiences, it doesn't matter how many vision boards you write.
It don't.
It doesn't. I mean, how many vision boards you have. It doesn't matter how many affirmations you say.
They just
right,
work.
because if your belief,
if
your belief in your mind cannot even elevate to a different level where you truly believe that you can have and you can do and you can be and walk in the destiny and calling of God, then it's just empty work. It's dust, right? So what are some mindset practices, if there are any mindset practices that people can start to implement in order to remain calm and keep this momentum as we head into the rest of 2022?
I would lead with one practice, which is to look at the past, I would say 12 to 18 months of your life. And I would ask one question. Within this time frame, have I done something that fulfills me, or have I held back on that one thing? Typically, that one thing or the lack thereof can tell you, I need to do mindset work. Because when we move into things of fulfillment and influence and impact, there is just a different level of momentum. So when that's not happening, there's something deeper that needs to be addressed. It's just something deeper. So I think, one, analyzing what's my fulfillment level right now. Do I feel like I'm in this place of stagnancy? Do I feel like I'm just kind of capped at my own potential? Do I feel like when opportunities come, instead of me getting excited, I immediately become deflated because I don't think I'm worthy of that?
That's good. That's good.
And so I think being able to gauge your level of fulfillment, I think everyone can do it. You can grab the journal and ask yourself, what have I done? And it can either, you can take it a step further. What was the last set of instructions that the Lord gave me? And have I moved on that yet?
That's good.
So while we're praying for, Lord, give me more strategy. I need more clarity. I need more direction. God's like, bro, I literally gave you that idea umpteenth ago.
Right.
I just need you to show up and execute, because a lot, and we'll see this. And I mean, you talked about this as it related to your graphic for this, right? Like as you're going, sometimes as you're going is where the insight and the direction and the clarity and the ability to execute
and the solution,
but you won't even take the first step.
You wouldn't take the first step. And so many times, like you said, going back to mindset, we tell ourselves that we don't have this, or we don't have that, or this one won't. Listen, you are the solution.
You are.
And when God has given you your dream and your vision and your goals, you're responsible, right? So when you get to heaven, you can't say, oh, well, this one didn't come through with the graphic.
Hey, like, oh, well, Lord, I couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it because of, right. So no, this was really good.
I want to add to this is that, you know, and you mentioned this, the reality is, yes, we are in the middle of a whole pandemic. We've been going pandemic strong for 2.5, 3 years. So I want to make sure that we're very mindful that yes, do the mindset work, but also be very mindful that everybody to some level is tired and exhausted and needing to rest very differently. So mindset is not the same as hustle culture. Let's be very clear. You need to know when to stop. You need to know when to maximize your time. We're not telling you go hard 7 days a week because you got the right mindset. No.
I don't even do that.
Listen, I sure don't do it. You hear me? I'm a show.
Right.
But
I'm also understanding that that's about learning your flow. right?
Yes.
That every day
Yes.
is not going to look the same.
Absolutely.
And that, you know, you are going to have days where the
Mhm.
frequency of your work and your
Yes.
energy is at a higher level
It's
than
peak.
what it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's peak, low, you know, but also being able to maintain and be okay with that, right?
Yeah.
Being okay with every day not looking the same, being okay with every season not looking the same. You have, the last 3 months of 2021,
Yeah.
I took off in terms of just my mind and creating and going, and I rested. And that was hard. That was very hard for me.
Yes.
So yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And I'm so glad that you said that, because mindset work, and it's so much more than just starting. It's how you see yourself in moments of stillness, right? And so
Say that again, please. I need some hearts,
work,
y'all. Did y'all hear that?
Did y'all hear that?
Because
you
Did
know,
y'all hear that?
mindset work is more than just getting going. It's learning how you perceive yourself in moments and seasons of stillness, right? And so towards the end of 2021, Ash, you took a few months. At the top of 2021, I was off. Like, I was complete, because 2020 was a very hard year for me.
That's right.
And I took probably about 7 to 8 months, like completely like shut down my podcast, I just needed time to be. And to be honest with you, I think another aha to even add to the answer that I gave you earlier was mindset. Doing the mindset work really came into play when I was in seasons where I couldn't do and execute the way that I had done in previous seasons, right? So if I had never dealt with the narrative of I'm valuable because I work hard, I'm valuable because I have clients, I'm valuable because I have a busy caseload or whatever.
Right. Finding your identity in that.
My identity in my work. That's mindset work. So when God was like, skirt, your body needs to heal, you need to be mentally well, you just came through a really hard year, you're still recovering. When he told me that, if I didn't understand the power of mindset as it relates to knowing who I am apart from what I do, I would have felt like a failure. And so for some people, they struggle with mindset work because they see themselves as failures, because the seasons of life, they're always ebbing and flowing. One of the first things, life is just happening. I had a client tell me, I want to do this, but life, I'm like, honey, life is always going to be happening. But what we need to do, we need to figure out what life happening for you in this season looks like, right? Like, you may not be able to go hard 5 days a week, but maybe the way that your mindset is, maybe 3 days a week is the best you got, but you better be maximizing them 3 days if that's all you got. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, that's true. And that has been Richelle, that has been a game changer for me in my life, right? Knowing when to be still, knowing when to rest, knowing, okay, when I wake up in the morning and I say my prayers, okay, what's that?
What's that,
God, are you calling me to, is this a day of just self-mastery where I'm just learning and
researching,
just taking time off? But I believe that in our culture, we have this hustle and grind culture that has really been detrimental, right?
Absolutely.
People think that you're getting somewhere. But one of my favorite verses in the Bible is that, this race is not won because of someone being swift, right? But to the one who endures in the end. And you have to consciously make the decision to get out the rat race. The rat race is going to be there.
Listen, it's always, we always going to see people promote. We're always going to see, just ask God what that looks like for you. I think there's so much pressure. That way, when you are able to show up, and whenever it's time for you to show up in whatever capacity, you steward that time well. We want to be faithful stewards, not just busy ones, right? I don't want to be busy. Like, that's fruitless if it's not the pace in which God has called me to operate. You know what I'm saying?
That's good. So I have one more question for you before we open it up for a few questions. If you have time, probably just 3 or 4 questions. So stick with us, you guys. We're wrapping this up. So the Born Influencer podcast is for women of faith who have extraordinary vision. And I am going to be inviting women like you who are influencing and dominating in their industry. And I just want people to be edified and stirred
Yes.
around topic of mindset and,
Mhm.
you know, purpose and career and
Yes.
business.
Yeah.
So this is a capstone question that I'm going to ask every guest. And I want you to finish it for me right now.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so finish this sentence.
Okay.
I was born to influence and dominate in the area of.
In the area of empowering women to get to the core of their stories in order for them to eradicate self-limiting beliefs and live a life of unbridled confidence, unbridled courage, and unbridled momentum so that they can move into their purpose.
Yay!
Amen. How I do? Okay.
You did great. Listen, I am on a mission for everyone I know to be able to answer that question.
Yes.
Again, I believe that we all are born and influential and to dominate in a certain area.
Absolutely.
Each one of us is born to influence. And I'm so happy that my friend was able to be on the call tonight for the first day of the Instagram series. And I'm going to open up the comments right now.
Yeah.
So if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to ask. This is when I have to put on my glasses, y'all, because
listen, girl, I'm trying to find mine. I think I left them in that room.
Listen, so hey guys, the comments are open again. If you have a question or a comment, please put it in the box. I'm not going to keep Richelle on long because I want to honor her time.
You are good, girl. I'm
So please, if you have a question, and let us know, did you enjoy this series? Did you enjoy Richelle? Please follow her because she's just amazing. So I'm a stay patient. I do.
Amen. So I'm like, you're going to have to read them, girl.
I am. Let us know, did you enjoy this talk? And please, if you have a question, feel free to ask a question.
I'm so excited for you guys. This is so much fun.
Thank you. This is fun. And Richelle is doing some amazing work. Again, please follow her. Richelle, tell the folks how they can connect with you and follow you.
Just head over to my Instagram. That's where I'll be at. I mean, I'm on Facebook too, but I mean Instagram, it'll be popping. Amen.
Oh, good. Well, we're so happy that you stumbled on this. Thank you. So good. I'm so happy I found you. Oh, yay. We are so glad that you guys were able to join.
Absolutely.
How do you clear? Okay, Richelle, we have a question.
Yes.
How do you clear a cloudy mind? Maybe do you need clarification?
Just cloudy concerning just in general. I would definitely start with sitting with someone to find out sorry, I'm typing and driving. I think sitting with someone and being able to talk through how life was before that cloud kind of came in. That way we can start to navigate through that cloud, because that cloud could just be lack of clarity. That cloud could be exhaustion. That cloud could be a lot of different things. So I would definitely recommend sitting down with someone to kind of navigate pre-cloud. That way we can get to the post-cloud, right?
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question? And if not, we are going to honor your time. I'm going to be saving this live. Overwhelmed with family, etc. Okay. So she kind of hit on what you were talking about, full of ideas, stress from job, overwhelmed with family. Yeah.
Prioritizing. Prioritizing, but really finding out what your capacity is in this season, because some of that cloudiness may just be a lack of awareness concerning your capacity, or the lack of ability to navigate what capacity looks like for you in this season. If that makes
good.
Yeah. This was fun.
Thank you. Any other questions? One more question, maybe? Well, if not, Richelle, again, thank you. I am going to be saving this live, and I'm going to put it on my page. So please feel free if you need to go back.
You got
we do have a question. Go back and look at it. How does one work through burnout with life and work?
I would say get a coach. Absolutely. because burnout may just be, one, burnout could be burnout, right? I would wonder what self-care looks like for you right now, and put in a plan of practice for what self-care needs to look like. But burnout could also be overextending.
Oh, that's
Again,
good.
it goes back to that capacity piece, a sense of overextension. So I would want to know, is there a part of your story in which you have overcompensated or had to constantly overextend? And is that something that you almost find a sense of value in? And is that something that you can continue to do that serves you well and allows you to be well? So it would be, a little twofold there.
That's good. So we have another question, and this
Okay.
is going to be our last one. In choosing a mindset coach, which is really good, what's a good rule in choosing a mindset coach?
That's a good question.
And maybe speak to any coach. Like, how would someone start looking for a life coach, a mindset, or just a coach in general?
Yeah, I think empathy. I think sometimes in the coaching space, sometimes there's such a push for results, and almost like a lack of patience for process, that when clients show up and it's a little bit more challenging for them to make some of the strides or even get some movement going, you think it's because they don't want to do the work. But some clients just need a little bit more empathy. They need someone to be a different type of present. And so I think that, and actually I want you to add to this as well, but I think having a coach that, yes, does hold you accountable, will hold you to the fire, but is also able to say, okay, I see that this may not just be an inner belief or you're just being stubborn, but like you're really tired and you need someone to be empathetic and sit with you for a season, for a little bit before we move you on into progress. I think that's a skill that has to be practiced more and more. But I hope that answers. Go ahead.
No, that's a great answer. And I want to add, also look for someone. I know in my coaching training, we always talk about the power of listening, right? Someone who can really listen to what you're saying, and be able to translate that back to you where it makes sense to you, right? Because what I have found in coaching is that not all clients have the same need, but each client specifically come to you needing an answer or needing to talk through an answer. Coaching is about helping you get from where you are now to the place you want to be, right? So if I'm helping you get from point A to point B, I have to get into the space in between. Where are you now? What are you dealing with? That's the biggest stressor in your life. And how can I help you translate that and be able to recognize it, do the self-introspection like you were talking about, Richelle, in order to be the driving force to help you get to that next level.
Absolutely.
I hope that makes sense.
Good.
So,
that's so
good. So guys, we are going to end it here. Richelle, again, thank you so much for all of you who have stayed on with us. This is so exciting. Unfortunately, tomorrow we will not be hosting. We're sending Natasha good love and energy as she is resting at home. So I'm thinking about going live myself at the 12 o'clock hour. I have not thought about the specific topic, but listen, we're going to roll with it. And I appreciate everyone who has been a part of this. And Richelle, are you going to come back and and do an interview on the podcast?
Absolutely, girl. What kind of question is that? You already know. Just send me the link, send me the dates, okay?
Listen, and Richelle's my friend, guys, so she couldn't have said no to this anyway.
Listen, I really
we were talking on the phone, and I was like, oh yeah, so I'm
by the way.
But I love you, girl. I thank God for you. I thank God for your purpose. You have impacted me in a great way, and I'm so glad that we are connected. Thank you guys for joining us.
Guys.
Yes, bye.